Farmer Briggs was a man of routine. Each morning, the rooster crowed, the sun rose, and he'd find his loyal dog, Buddy, curled up on the same tattered old coat by the door. It wasn't just any coat. It was Briggs' work coat, stained with dirt, smelling of earth and sweat, and patched more times than he could count. He'd tried everything to get Buddy to sleep somewhere more comfortable. He bought a plush, expensive dog bed filled with what the label called orthopedic memory foam. Buddy sniffed it once and walked away, right back to the old coat. Briggs then laid out soft, warm blankets, fresh from the laundry. Buddy just nudged them aside with his nose, circling a few times before settling back onto his familiar, worn-out perch. Briggs even tried coaxing him onto the foot of his own bed, but Buddy would just whine softly until Briggs let him down and he'd pad silently back to the coat. Briggs started to worry. Was Buddy sick? Was he cold? He checked him over, felt his nose, looked into his clear, trusting eyes. Buddy seemed perfectly fine, wagging his tail whenever Briggs got close. It was a mystery, a puzzle that tugged at the farmer's heart. Why this specific coat? It was threadbare, faded, and honestly, a bit smelly. But to Buddy, it was the most precious thing in the world. Briggs would watch him at night, seeing how the dog would burrow his nose deep into the fabric, sigh contentedly, and drift off to sleep, his paws twitching as he dreamed. It was more than just a sleeping spot. It was a sanctuary. The farmer decided to observe more closely, looking for a clue. He noticed that Buddy was most attached to the coat when Briggs wasn't around. If Briggs was out in the fields for long hours, he'd return to find Buddy not just sleeping on the coat, but practically wrapped in it, his entire body pressed against the fabric. A thought began to form in Briggs' mind, a memory from a few years back that he had tried to push away. It was a harsh winter, one of the worst he'd ever seen. A blizzard had swept through the countryside, trapping everything under a thick blanket of snow. Briggs had been out mending a fence line far from the farmhouse when the storm hit, much faster and fiercer than the forecast had predicted. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, and the snow fell so thick he couldn't see his own hand in front of his face. He'd lost his way. Disoriented and freezing, he collapsed into a snowdrift. The cold seeping into his bones, his strength fading with every passing second. He was wearing that very same coat. He had almost given up hope when he felt a wet nose push against his cheek, then frantic barking. It was Buddy. He'd somehow tracked him through the blinding storm. Buddy, just a young dog then, had laid down on his chest, sharing his own body heat, licking his face to keep him awake. For hours, the dog stayed with him, a furry, warm guardian angel in the middle of a frozen wasteland. When a search party finally found them, guided by Buddy's persistent barks, the first thing they saw was the small dog curled protectively on the farmer's chest, refusing to leave his side. Buddy had saved his life. The coat, the one Briggs had been wearing, was what connected them during that terrifying ordeal. It carried the scent of their shared struggle, their survival, their unbreakable bond. Briggs knelt down beside Buddy, his eyes welling up with tears as the full weight of the memory returned. He ran his hand over the dog's soft fur, then touched the rough fabric of the old coat. It all made sense now. The coat wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was a symbol. It was a tangible reminder of the moment his loyal friend had refused to let him go. For Buddy, that coat was the scent of his master, the feeling of safety, and the memory of a promise he had made and kept, to always be there. When Briggs was near, the coat was a comfort. When he was away, it was a stand-in, a proxy for the farmer himself, assuring the anxious dog that his best friend would return. That night, instead of trying to move Buddy, Briggs did something different. He took an old pillow from his own bed and gently tucked it under the dog's head, right there on the old coat. Buddy opened one eye, gave a soft thump of his tail against the floor, and snuggled into the pillow without moving from his spot. From that day on, Briggs never tried to replace the coat. He understood that it wasn't about comfort in the way humans think of it. It was about love, loyalty, and a memory that was too precious to ever let go. The coat remained by the door, a tattered, threadbare monument to a friendship that had weathered the fiercest of storms. And every night, as Buddy slept soundly on it, Farmer Briggs would look at him and feel a wave of gratitude so profound it left him breathless. He had the best dog in the world and an old, worn-out coat to prove it. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe for more content that celebrates the amazing bonds we share with our animal companions.